And get out your notebook. Let's go ahead and go. So we talked about systems, and you guys had an assignment on Friday about systems. Well, the whole reason that you needed to know the 2x2 systems are so that we can do the 3x3 systems. So the very first thing I want you to do, write these 4 steps down. Now there's more steps than this, but step 5 and 6 aren't going to make any sense until we get through the first 4.
We can't see the steps.
Didn't I share the screen? Oh boy, hold on. Sorry, I was just gonna sit there. I thought I hit share. I did hit share. Why did it not work? There we go. I'm sorry. I'll also take off my bandit thing, but not yet. A lot of this stuff will not make sense until we get through it. We're going to be doing a ton of these tonight. Tonight in class. You only have 5 questions on your homework to do. So again, the first step is you guys get to choose a variable to eliminate. There's no wrong choice. There's often a better choice, but again, no wrong choice, just like what we were doing on Friday. Choose an equation to use twice. Again, no wrong answer there. But again, there's usually a better one. Rewrite your 2 systems when you cancel out the variable. And then we're down to a 2x2 system. I'll give you about 30 more seconds on this page, then we'll start problem 1. And typically in X, I don't do a ton of examples, but today I will. I want to make sure that you guys you've got this down. Okay, I still see a lot of people writing. Does anybody need more time on this screen? All right. So number 1, there we go. And we're going to do anywhere between 3 and 5 examples today, which should take pretty much the entire period. So make sure you write this down. Step number 1 is choose a variable to eliminate. So again, which variable do you think is easiest to get a set of opposite coefficients? Now, I have to eliminate either all of the x's, all of the y's, all of the z's. So which one do you think would be easiest to eliminate and why? What do you think?
Z.
Good. Now, why'd you say the Z?
Because they're all one and they're already negative and they're already opposite of each other.
Right. So when I do this, that's good. Hopefully you guys are seeing this, and I started off pretty simple. So the Z's are going to be the easiest to cancel out. So it says, then choose an equation that you need to use twice. Well, you see how this set of Z's are opposites and these are opposites, which means I'm going to use this equation twice. The whole reason I'm using it twice is because it's already opposites with the top equation and the bottom. There is no wrong answer. I could use any equation twice. But when I do that, I'm going to write these two together. And then I'm going to write these two together. Again, it does not matter which one goes on top, which one goes on bottom. So any questions so far about what I've done?
Wait, how'd you get the negative 7y?
That's a 2. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Does the one that was used twice, do they have to be alternate of each other? Because you put one on bottom and one on top.
No, the order doesn't matter at all, because what I'm doing is I'm setting up these two equations. These two go here, and then these two are here. So the order doesn't matter at all which one's top, which one's bottom. So remember, our entire goal is to cancel out a variable, and that's all we're doing. Now, I'm going to warn you guys about this about 3 or 4 times. Do not change your mind about which variable you're going to cancel. Once you've chosen one of them, you must stick with it. Now, that's not going to make any sense until we get to like problem 3. But here's what I mean. We're trying to cancel out the Z's. Do I already have a set of opposites with the Z's? Yes, they are opposite coefficients, -1 and +1. So what do? I add them. Those will be eliminated. There you go. Same thing over here. Make sure you cancel out your Z's or eliminate the Z's. They are already opposite coefficients, so I just add. Any questions? Now, this is step 4. We canceled out one variable, so now we're down to 2 variables. So all I want you guys to do, oh, come on. That's not what I wanted. So all I want you guys to do is to take this and line them up and solve this equation, right? Or solve this system of equations. So this is the system that I'm solving for. So that's why we spend an entire day on 2x2 systems, because really what we're doing with the 3x3 is we're eliminating a variable to get back to the 2x2 systems. And now it's just like what we've been doing. Do I already have a set of opposite coefficients? Yes, so I add 5x plus x, the y's cancel, and x is 3. Any questions there? So then how do I solve for y? I pick one of these 2 equations and I plug in the value for x. I'm going to use the bottom one. All right, so that's where the instructions ended. That was the end of step 4. So it said write a 2x2 system and solve that for x and y. So here's step 5. Choose any one of your original equations and plug those two values in. It does not matter which equation you plug it into. For sake of keeping it positive, I'm going to plug it into the second one. By the way, that's why I put the line through my z's, so they don't look like 2's. Now remember, the solution is where these three equations, these three lines intersect. So now this is a three-dimensional equation. So it should be written as an ordered triple in alphabetical order, always alphabetical order. So 3, 1, -2 is your final answer. Any questions? These problems take a lot of time, I know. Once you do this 3 or 4 times, you should start getting faster and faster and faster. Any questions? All right, so let's do the next one. Take a minute, write this down. All right, so step 1. Choose a variable to eliminate. This time, which variable does it look like is easiest to eliminate?
X.
Yeah, I agree. Again, there's absolutely no wrong answer, but kind of get used to making that box. It'll make more sense on the next one. So we chose X. No matter what, we're gonna keep the X. We're always gonna eliminate the X. Now, which equation do I want to use twice? Which means, do I want to put these two together, which I would say is pretty obvious. And then, which one am I going to pair up with the x minus 2y to cancel it out? Again, there's no wrong answer, but there's probably a better answer. So which one do you want to use to cancel the x out?
The middle one?
Yeah, I would probably choose the middle one. So we chose this one to use twice. Again, it really didn't matter.
Do you have to multiply the third equation by 2?
Yeah, and that's what we're going to have to do. But you won't see me do that until we write it out. So we chose that equation, the middle equation, to use twice, and then that's what we have to do. So let's go through and do it one thing at a time. These first one, we need to cancel out the x's. Remember, that's why we put the box here. Even if it would look like something is already a set of opposites, we chose the x for a reason. Again, that's going to make more sense on the next problem. So cancel out the x's. Eek. They're already opposites. But up here, my x's are not opposites. So what do I multiply the entire second equation by to get the opposite of -2?
2.
Again, I'm not trying to take up a ton of paper or room. Make sure that you understand what you're trying to do. So I multiplied the entire equation by 2, so I did that, and I lightly crossed it out. Once I have opposites, add the equations. There we go. Any questions there? Now, let me see if it'll let me do that. So once I do that, I just literally move them up and I solve the 2x2 system. I know that you guys know how to do this, or at least think you should know how to do this, so I'll go a little quicker. Which variable do we want to cancel out, the y's or the z's?
Z.
So they chose z. So if I've got a +1 and a -5, this needs to be +5. I don't need to multiply that by anything. So once I have a value for y, I plug it into either one of these equations, any one of these equations that just have 2 variables. So I'll plug it into the middle one. Oh, yeah, that's right. Add 16. So z is -2. Any questions so far? Now, once you have 2 variables, the last step is to plug those into both of those into any one of these equations. It does not matter which one. I'll plug it into the top. And x is 1. Order triple x, y, z. There's your answer. Any questions? All right, notice, I'm not giving you guys a ton to do on your own, especially not yet. I want to walk you through everything that you could possibly see. No questions? Now, let's let the debate rage. I want you guys to try this on your own. I bet we're not going to get any agreement on which variable is easiest to cancel out. So choose. Which one do you want to cancel? The x's, the y's, or the z's? Take a second, write it down, and then try that first step on your own. All right, so what variable is easiest to cancel out?
The x's.
I heard x's. I am promising you, some people said y's. Some people said z's. Guys, all of these are equally easy to cancel out. So here's where you have to pay attention. He said x's. I'll go ahead and use the x's. Once you choose one, stick with it. Now, which equation do you want to use twice? The top one twice, the middle one twice, or the bottom one twice? Again, no wrong answer, it's your choice. What do you guys think?
The bottom one,
Why'd you pick that, Lucy?
because it's negative.
Yeah, because it's negative, the other two are positive, that's it. So when I write it, and then I've got this one. Now remember what I've kind of been preaching here for the last two problems is do not back off. Once you've chosen that variable, you have to cancel out that variable in both equations. So you chose the x, right? And you chose this equation. Again, there's no wrong choice on either of those, but once you chose it, stick with it. We're canceling out the x's. Those were already opposites. There you go. Now here's the thing that you have to remember. We canceled out the x's. So when I'm done, I have to cancel out the x's. And somebody's going to say, well, I changed my mind. I want to cancel out the z's. That's not going to work because when we set up a 2x2 system, we have to have the same variables. So I'm still canceling out the x's even though the z's are already opposites. So how do I get an opposite coefficient here with the x's? What do I do? How do I make my x's opposites?
Multiply the top one by 3.
Perfect. Now those will cancel. So any questions on that? Once you choose a variable to eliminate, that has to be the variable that you eliminate, and then you literally line them up. Now, which one do we want to eliminate here? The x's or the y's? Or the x's, the y's or the z's? There's no wrong choice. Somebody pick.
Z's.
So I heard z's. So I already have one's positive, one's negative. I have a 4 on bottom, so I need a 4 on top. I have a 3 on top. I need a 3 on the bottom. The z's will cancel. I'm going to do this kind of fast. So once I have one, plug it back into one of these. I'll plug it in right here. By the way, about 90% of the mistakes that are going to be made are sign mistakes. This is really just good practice about making sure you're paying attention to your work here. So I almost made a really, really costly mistake by going too fast. So as soon as I added 6 to both sides, I wrote -3, and then I wrote x at first, but I'm not solving for x. It was a z. That was a careless error that I almost made. Last step, once I have y and z, choose any one to plug it in. I'll choose the middle. Oh, come on. So that's x minus 6 equals negative 5, so x is positive 1. So my answer is 1, negative 2, negative 5, done. Questions, comments, or concerns? None? All right, so let's get on to some special types. All right. If you guys see something like this, and I think you see one of these on your homework tonight, don't panic. This is actually very simple. By very simple, remember the solution is what is x, what is y, what is z. If they ever tell you what a variable is right away, x is 4, well, I can plug that in right here, right off the bat. Sorry, I should take a second. Go ahead and write that down. So if they ever start by telling you the value of any variable, plug it in right away. And what you'll see is once I plug in that x is 4, I have 4 plus y equals negative 6. So if I subtract 4, I already have an x and a y value. Right off the bat, I didn't even have to do any work. Hardly any work. Now we're just looking for our z value, right? Well, if I know what x is and I know what y is, again, just keep it straight, plug them in here. Now I know I went super quick. Does anybody have any questions?
So like when they give you a variable, you don't even have to like do like the basic steps. Like you can just skip ahead.
Right. You can plug it in. So even, let's say they would have given me something like this. Let's say they said like y equals 2. Then I have something like this, 2x plus 3y minus 4z equals 1. And something like x minus 2y plus 4z equals 2. I could literally just go through and plug this in right away. So I already have a 2x2 system. They've already given me an answer. Does that make sense? So when I plug that in, it would really be 2x plus 6 minus 4z equals 1. So you see how you can get to a 2x2 system right away? And I plug that in here, that'd be negative 4. And then you'd solve. All right, but let's keep going. So if you can do this one, you can do any of them. Take a minute and write it down. And tell me why this one is awkward or how this is different than anything we've done so far. All right, so why is this different? How is this different than everything we've done?
The third equation doesn't have a y variable.
Perfect. So make sure that you guys watch this. We've only got about 10 minutes left, so I really want you to see this. The entire goal is to rewrite a system of equations with just two variables. Well, guess what? This one only has two, and it doesn't have the y. So one of my systems here, one of my equations is this. So what that means is that what variable should I look to cancel out in these top two?
Why?
The y's. So these are actually, I understand how looking at them, they're more confusing. These are actually even easier. So in these two, what that means is I must eliminate the y variable. Now, I'm going to show you this. I haven't shown my regular class this at all. You guys don't have to even write this down, show a ton of work here. What are you trying to cancel out? Your y's. So the very first thing I can do is multiply that by 2. When you really get good, you can start to do some of these steps in your head, but I would not try it now. My y's will cancel out. There you go. Any questions? So when I line these up, I must have the same variables. It would make no sense if this top one was an x and a z, and here I had an x and a y. I could not solve that. So it's all about eliminating a variable. Now I'm going to go pretty quick, so please watch, because I want to make sure we get through the last one. I'm going to choose to cancel my x's. So the top has a 2, bottom gets a 2. Bottom has a 5, top gets a 5. One of them has to be negative, doesn't matter which one. There we go. Once I solve for z, plug it back in. I'll plug it in right here. By the way, I don't mind if you don't show every single step, especially with the basic algebra 1 stuff. But if I've got an x and a z and I need to find y, plug it back into any equation, and I will plug it back into the middle. I'm plugging in for x and z. So x is -1, z is 2, so -4 times 2. Add 10. And my entire answer is this, x, y, and z. There you go. Any questions? All right, so last one. Again, this is being recorded so you guys can go through and check this out. Last one. Come on. This looks like the most difficult, but I promise you this is the easiest. Write this down and let's discuss. So here's the thing. Notice X and Y and Z, X and Z, not a single one of these has all three variables. So how you should start is to pick which variable is easiest to eliminate. So if I'm dealing with my X's, I am just dealing with these two. Not difficult, but maybe not the easiest. If I'm trying to eliminate my Y's, I've got +5 and +3. Again, not difficult, but not the easiest. So I'm going to choose to eliminate the Z's. Any questions there? Guess what makes this easy? This equation, the Z is already eliminated. So over here, here's what I've got. By the way, just for good measure, I went ahead and put in this 0x and 0y just so you don't make any silly mistakes. I did not have to put that. What am I trying to cancel out? The z's. So how do I cancel out the z's? What should I multiply by?
-2.
Perfect. What's my equation? Does that make sense? I 100% understand why this is confusing and how it's confusing. But as far as work goes, it's even easier because you'd have to do less. So once I chose which one is easiest to eliminate, notice this one it's already eliminated, so I can just drop this down. And these two, again, when I multiply by -2, these will cancel. Then just make sure you keep your X, your Y, and your work straight. Now I'm gonna go finish this pretty quickly, so we just did the hard part. I'm gonna multiply this by 3. So Y is -2. I'm gonna plug it back in right here. Your X is 3. And guess what? Once you have X and Y, plug it back into one of these to find Z. I'll plug it in right here. So 3x minus 9 there you go. Any questions? No questions? All right, so you have a big ideas assignment tonight. Real quick, remember, it is back to school night. So make sure that you guys share this link. It's the same one. Make sure you guys share your link with your parents. Encourage them to be on. I promise I won't say anything bad. In fact, I'm going to ask them to be patient with you, patient with me. This is hard for all of us. I know we're all busy. We're all swamped. But give them this link. I'll walk them through Canvas, kind of show them what your day looks like, what our day looks like, and that's it. Also, if you go to Canvas and you still do not have a graphing calculator, the instructions on my homepage for Canvas are how to get a graphing calculator. You can rent them. Now, it is $20 per semester, so $40 for the year. So if you look at that, and you guys are all, I'm sure, planning on taking pre-cal or calculus in college, you will need a graphing calculator. So I'm encouraging you to go ahead and buy it. I know it's salty, anywhere between 80 and 120 bucks, but it's $40 just to rent it for the year. So I am encouraging you to buy it if you haven't already. We do have them available for rent. The instructions are on my Canvas page. All right. I hope to see all of your parents there tonight. Unless there's any questions, you guys, we are finished. Have a wonderful day. Do your homework tonight. It's due tomorrow. You're welcome. See you guys.